In this activity, you will learn about the different kinds of partnerships that exist. And this will help you to explore or think of a direction for your project. Now, you'll have come across most of these partnership examples during your prescribed reading, so you should be quite familiar with most of them. And by the end of this activity, you are going to have an applied learning session where you need to complete, and you'll also have the opportunity to sit down with your peers and explore some ideas that are going to benefit your community action project. Now, what's very important is that I want you to bear in mind that we're all coming from different backgrounds and we have different needs. So what works for you might not work for one of your colleagues, or what worked for one company might not work for you. Remember that these are guidelines of what kinds of partnerships you can possibly explore, but it's perfectly fine for you to take a guideline and then customize it or tailor it to fit your needs. So with that in mind, let's continue. Click on the next slide. Strategic partners. Strategic partners are organizations or individuals that can provide something that is core to the delivery of your product, or secondly, a service that enhances your core offerings in ways that allow you to enter into markets that you could not currently serve. Let me give you an example. Suppose you are running a small taxi service in your local community, and you enter into a partnership with the local hotels or motels to provide shuttles to the airport or to the local tourist sites. This kind of partnership fulfills the characteristics that we spoke about. Number one, it allows both of your organizations to fulfill a need that is core to your business. And at the same time, it gives you both access to a market that you were not serving before. So now, because of this partnership, the hotel customers automatically become your customers, or alternatively, the people that you've been carrying around become customers of the hotels. It works well for both parties involved. Marketing partnerships. Now, these are relationships with like-minded organizations with the stated goal of promoting each other in a variety of ways. So, we're looking to advertise. This is an inexpensive way to promote your brand or to promote your organization. So an example of this is the Global Fund, the Product Red campaign, and GAP. Now, this was a campaign to fight AIDS in Africa, and it's been around since about 2006. And GAP, which is a clothing brand here in America, started to make clothing with the labels red on them. Now, they make fancy jeans, they make trendy shirts and trendy sweaters, things that people ordinarily would buy anyway. But they had a range of clothes that they would sew on this label red on. And 50% of the profits on all the red products sold were donated to the Global Fund. This, of course, helped increase the awareness of the work that the Global Fund was doing in Africa to fight HIV, whilst at the same time, it was promoting GAP in the work that they were doing to support charitable causes. So as you can see, this worked out perfectly for both parties involved. Collaboration partnership. Now, in a collaboration, there is no integration or sharing of services or governance or resources or programs. However, the parties are sharing information and they're coordinating efforts. Now, there are many of you who are here and are probably working in women and gender issues. So you might decide to partner with a campaign about gender rights. Although no resources or services are integrated, you're all working together towards a common goal, maybe to raise awareness, and then you can share best practices, information, and you can coordinate your efforts. So for example, you'll say, it's Women's Month in the month of August, and we're going to do a campaign against gender violence. this is the information that we're going to use. This is how we're going to, run that campaign. We'll tweet about it. The campaign will start from the 1st of August and will end on the 31st of August. So your efforts are coordinated. Information is shared. However, you're not integrating or sharing any resources. Cost sharing or grant matching partnerships. Now, these occur when one organization provides certain resources and another organization provides different resources, all of which are contributing towards achieving a final goal. Grant matches occur when one organization provides a grant and the recipient provides a match in cash, services, maintenance, voluntary efforts, or supply. Let me give you an example of cost sharing. An easy one that I can give you is a program that I work on here at IREX. It's called the Mandela Washington Fellowship. This program allows fellows to attend training in the USA, and then once they've returned from their fellowship and are back in their home countries, we find internship opportunities for them. The fellows require a monthly stipend and sometimes resources to help them relocate and cover accommodation or transportation while they are fulfilling these internships. We often share the costs for placing these fellows into these host institutions. So IREX will cover the relocation cost, for example, and then the host organization, like say the African Union, will cover the fellow stipend for 6 months. Now, with an integration, there are actually changes to structure and control. So an integration is established to provide some or all administrative functions. This means that there are significant changes to the entities because of the partnership. So this, an example of this could be what we spoke about in the previous activity, where I asked you, do you need to reinvent the wheel? Is there somebody who's doing something similar to you? So perhaps you do identify somebody who's doing something similar to you and you've got a good idea. These two organizations would come together, but because they're coming together, there could be, changes to structure and to control. As a result, you're establishing to provide some administrative functions. And so you're working together. It's a partnership, but there's been a lot of changes within the organization. So it's two organizations coming together. So this covers an integration. So those are just some examples, and you can read more of those in your prescribed reading that you had to read at the beginning of the session. And you can also discuss some of these with your peers to maybe think of examples within your own countries that represent some of these types of partnerships. Now that you've identified your project goal, think about the greatest partnership needs in order to reach that goal. Where do you know that you cannot, what do you know that you can't do a certain thing without the support of somebody else or some institution or some company? For example, do you need to develop a strong relationship with the Ministry of Education in order to move forward with a girls' education project? Or maybe do you need to partner with a web developer to build your platform on anti-corruption? Through the applied learning activities and discussion, you're going to talk about your greatest partnership needs. And before you move to the next activity, I want you to identify your greatest partnership need. So that's it for now. Enjoy your applied learning activity, and I hope that you have a fruitful discussion with your peers.